Hello, I am with Seed System Solution, and in this video, I will highlight the process of creating grower payments and associating those costs with a production field. If you are not able to view the menu or tab options that I reference within this video, please contact your Seed System Solution admin user at your organization for assistance. So a common question we are asked is how to link payments to a grower back to the field costs and then ultimately onto the production bagging request. Before I delve into that, there are a few setup pieces that we're going to talk about first. The first piece is within your product list, which you can find under your main menu. And then by navigating to your product list, is we're going to need to set up a few products. At minimum, you're going to need a production bushels product, and if you're paying premium costs, a premium product. Now for both of these, your item name should be as listed here. So production bushels and premium. If you want to list it for, say, a different class, such as corn or soybean or wheat, we would recommend that you use the subclass field, or you can use the class fields. Just note that if you use the class, it's going to pull your accounts based on that class, so you may need to override those, as well as it may display, depending on what report you're pulling, under the that specific class. So I do recommend subclass over class, but that is a matter of preference on your behalf. You will need to make sure you have unchecked the receive to inventory box, as these products are not going to be received into inventory. And then you are going to need to make sure you set up a purchase account. It will require you to set up a sales account as well, although this will likely never be used on a sale itself. But because it's not inventory, you do need to set up a purchase account. The next piece of data that you're going to need to set up is within your settings and discounts and going into your chart of accounts tab. Here, you are going to need to set your default fields IP, which stands for in progress account. And because we are a double accounting system, this is going to be where that opposite flip side for your production in progress, so any costs that are associated with that production field. Most people have set this up as a current asset, as it is kind of similar to your inventory costs at this point in time, or potential inventory costs. Once you've set this up, it will carry through to any new production fields that you create. And now within your vendors, you are going to need to flag any of your vendors that will be linked to a production field using this grower checkbox. And what that's going to do is limit these growers to being in the grower value list for your production fields, as well as on your bulk grower landlord split option. Once you've set up those beginning pieces, now you can move on to your production fields and getting those set up for your year. So in your production field list, which can be found under menu, production fields, you can create a new production field through your hamburger menu by selecting new. Once you're on your production field, you would set your grower to whichever grower is growing it. Down in your left-hand corner, you can assign a different split. So by default, 100% of the field is going to go to your grower. However, you can modify that and assign another landlord split option to your production field. To do that, you would click the plus, select your vendor, and then within your percentage, you're going to assign the percentage in decimal format. So in this case, 50% would be a 0.5, and then continue. You just need to make sure your split equals 100% overall. Once you've harvested, you can also set up your bins, in which case your bins are going to be what you need to finally link this field back into your production bagging request. But we want to talk first about how to associate cost with this production field. If there is no payable that is going to be associated to this cost, you can just go to the cost tab and you can press the plus And you can search for a production cost or an item here. It can be an inventory item, can be a non-inventory item. And this would directly link a cost to this production field. However, this will not create a payable. The most common way is going to be through a payable. And so back on our vendor, over here, we're going to go to the Transactions tab. And we're going to create a new bill using the plus button and selecting bill. Once on that bill, we will go to the Lines tab. And from your Lines tab, you're going to hit the plus button to add a new line. Your line is going to search for either your production bushels or say your premium. We do recommend adding only one line per bill that is being paid. And the reason for that is you can very easily then track what has been paid and what has not been paid for your grower report later on. So once you've selected your product, you are going to enter the quantity of bushels that you're pricing out currently. And you're going to enter the price that you're paying to this specific vendor. And then you're going to click the fields, the magnifying glass next to the field ID, to select your production fields that you want to link these costs to. Your production fields, to note, this is only going to look for production fields that match the year of your bill. So if you are not seeing a production field listed here, it may be because your bill year is not the same as your production field year. So once we've associated that field with that bill, we can leave that bill in place now until it is time to pay the vendor, which may be the same day or it may be a few months down the line. To pay this bill, just as normal, you would go into your hamburger menu and you can write a check straight from your bill, or from your transaction tab, you can click the plus and you can select check to write a check from there. And so once we are on the check, we're going to go to the bills tab. And then from that tab, we are going to see an option for any of our open bills for the specific vendor that we have. We would then just select that bill. If we need to override an amount once the bill has been marked paid, we can click into the amount tab and enter the amount that we are paying for today. We can leave this check by using the back logo. But before we leave, if we wanted to print or mark it as printed, we can open the hamburger menu, select print to go through the print process, or assign a check number. It will give you the next check number in your sequence, or you can override that with some text such as ACH payment. We're going to press OK, and that is going to assign that check number for us. Once that check number has been assigned, it can be overridden by clicking into the check number fields and making any adjustments necessary. I do also always recommend adding memos and notes when possible, just so you know what you are paying. We can now leave this bill as well using the back logo. If we return back to the production field for that vendor, we will now see the costs have been updated on this production field. So up in the cost or the totals bar, we can see a total cost associated with this field. And if we go to our cost tab, we will now see that production bushels cost that we paid from that bill. From here, we can then add our costs to our production bagging request. And we can do that from our production bagging request, which can be found under menu, production bagging request. Then we would select the production bagging request number, or we can open up our hamburger menu and select new. I already have a production bagging request set up here a little bit, but I do need to set our bins. So I'm going to go to our bin tab. I'm going to open the bin selector using the edit pencil, and I'm going to select the bin that I want to assign. We could also split this bin using the split button if we're only using a partial amount of this bin. Now, when we're ready to complete this, right now, because we associated our bins late, it doesn't have our cost of bins. But if we open our hamburger menu, we can select Reset Cost, and this will pull our updated bin cost. As well as when you complete the request, you are going to be prompted if you want to reset the cost. So I'm going to use this Reset Cost button. It's going to pull a new cost per bushel based on the value of cost from that bin, pulling from that production field. It would take into account any refuge lines if we had any. In this case, we don't, but if we had any value in our refuge lines, it would also average those costs into our units here. So when we select Complete Request, again, we will get that notification asking us if we would like to recalculate the cost based on the fields. If you do not, you can press No, and it will maintain any cost that you manually entered on the line. We do highly recommend any costs being associated with your production fields prior to your bagging request being created. That is the only way we can carry the costs down to your inventory line. If you associate your costs to a production field after the production bagging request has been made, those costs are going to remain in your production in progress account. And from there, you would need to use a journal entry to move it out of your production and progress into your cost of goods or into your inventory account, whichever way you would like to go, typically into your cost of goods account. We do have a couple of reports that you can reference as well. So from the bulk, you can see from your grower report here, this is going to break down your production, bushels priced, bushels paid, premium due, premium priced, and so forth. You would also see whether they are 100% responsible for or receiving payments for that production field, or if they are a split. And if they are a split, then the bushels to be paid would kind of calculate, it would take your percentage based on how many bushels were on that production field. In the next update, we are going to have a specific PO detailed report that will pull those bill lines that you have paid and is looking just at production bushels that are linked to our production fields. Within your bulk reports as well, you can see your bins report, so you can see what is still left to be delivered or cleaned out from your production bins. If you have any other questions about Seed System Solution, please reference our other training videos, email us at grow@seedsystem.co, or register for one of our free monthly Seed System Support Zoom meetings.